Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today we are kicking off the new year with Dr. McDaniel from New Eden, and I'm really excited to bring you some information about more about the blue zones. And he is going to talk about some of the dental side of that, or maybe the dental benefits. I'm going to let him kind of start us off. So we'll be right back with Dr. Reg McDaniel right after this. Give us a like and share this video. Happy New Year, Dr. Reg. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, we made it to 2024. We're ready to start this year off with health and some wellness. And you brought us some information about blue zones and dental health or lifestyle. And I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, the first thing I'd like to say that all the way back to ancient Greece, and you could find places even in the Hebrew scriptures, that human beings have been focused on longevity and good health. We find out in the Bible they claim that some of the people live to be several hundred years old. That's not happening now. However, as we pointed out in the Blue Zone series, that the World Health Organization and now National Geographic, which is one of the most widely published documents on the planet, has had two issues on what they found out in these blue zones, that the key thing in the blue zones is these people live up to 90 or over 100 in good health, able to live independently. And what is the commonality of all of them? And one of the most common repeated things is their diet tends to be real food. The blue zones are primarily islands or isolated peninsulas where the lifestyle has, and what you do every day hasn't changed in maybe 100 years. And in fact, in Sardinia, the island to the west of Italy that was one of the blue zones, they said that life is going on much like it did in the Roman days. And today we have appliances and various things through particularly electricity that we do not exercise with whatever we're doing every day in our work style. In many of these blue zones, the people are farmers. They have flocks and they follow the sheep or goats, and they are fishermen, and so they get exercise during the day. And that's two things. Even Hippocrates, if you look for on outlooks and enter quotations from Hippocrates, you'll find out that in ancient Greece, he said, if we could provide to the individual or the patient proper or optimal nutrition and exercise, comma, not too much, not too little, comma, we'd have found the safest pathway to good health. Then beneath this, he wrote, let your food be your medicine and your medicine your food. And these are common factors to all these blue zones. And I've tried to emphasize you don't have to move to one of these isolated islands or peninsulas. And there's excellent proof that one of these blue zones is right in California, around Loma Linda, where there's a religious group made up of Seventh-day Adventists that follow the food and lifestyle of the blue zones. And they're right in the middle of a metropolitan type area in the United States, and they're getting the benefits of a blue zone. So you can, wherever you live, that if you eat primarily a plant-based diet, And if and for your meat, primarily fish, particularly salmon. And if you emphasize green leafy vegetables and fruits and nuts and berries, that this provides what your cells need in cellular synthesis to make bioactive molecules that move our biochemistry and physiology to the balanced or normal zone, which the father of human physiology, Dr. Hans Selye, called homeostasis. That's what you're looking for. And so today we're going to emphasize on lifestyles. And of course, in lifestyles, it means looking for things that are healthy and avoiding things that are unhealthy. And one of the most important things to avoid of the unhealthy is burning material and putting it in a pipe or in paper and smoking it.
Uh-huh.
It's not healthy. Burning trash, as I say, and then sucking it into your lungs. That's one of the lifestyle things that are bad. And on that exercise, if whatever you're doing, if you do the equivalent of about 3 miles a week, whatever you're doing, whether it's on a bicycle, whether it's on a treadmill, whether it's just walking around the blocks, 3 miles a week, plus a vegetarian or a vegetable diet primarily. Doesn't have to be totally that way. In fact, at the Cleveland clinics, Dr. Ornish has you eat what goes on in the blue zones uh, 6 days of the week. And the seventh day of the week, he gives you a vacation day. You can eat anything you want. And I went on that personally, and I went from about 280 pounds. And if I ate Fritos or potato chips, it'd scare the hell out of 300, down to 130, 230, pardon me. And now I'm about 5 years later in the about 240 range. But I have tried to follow some of this advice and more in keeping with the Cleveland Clinic type of thing, that there are things that you can get in animal meat that are very rare in plants. And so I think that just reducing red meat,
Mm-hmm.
trying to emphasize fish, and then heavily on fruits and vegetables, nuts and berries is an important thing today. But today we're going to talk also in this lifestyle thing about just simply the effect of brushing your teeth. And one of the big challenges, I think, to the human being is to do what we know we should do.
Yes.
To have that self.
I'm sending this one to my son. We literally went to the dentist this morning. Well, to the or what are they called? The orthodontist this morning. And I said, you are sitting here telling me how you want braces or Invisalign or whatever, but I have to get on to you about brushing your teeth. So if you're not going to do the little things, don't ask me to invest in the big things. So I'm going to send him this video after we're done.
Well, as I was saying, that's a challenge to the human condition to do what we know we should do.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably everyone knows you ought to brush your teeth regularly, even certainly in the morning, afternoon, and after meals. But there is a tendency to slough this off. But I also suspect that if a person is diligent enough to brush their teeth right, they're probably more prone to get the exercise they need each week, to more prone to eat more fruits and vegetables, nuts and berries. And that's just part of self discipline. So I
Mm-hmm.
think now, knowing this, that in terms of lifestyle, I think we should go to the first slide.
Okay.
Now, we talked about the blue zones, and today we're going to be on the dental angle, and that it's part of a more healthy lifestyle. And that if you know you're supposed to brush your teeth, you'll probably follow through on some of the other things. Now, all these lectures have been designed for my effort to take a population that has been taught and indoctrinated that if you've got a challenge of your physical health, your mental or your emotional health, we got a drug for it. Well, drugs only work by poisoning the engineering and design of life that is coded in DNA that controls cellular synthesis. What we're talking about is optimizing the supply of nutrients used in cellular synthesis to correct the problem. And that's what we're trying to emphasize. And I frequently quote Paracelsus, the father of Western pharmacology, that his most famous statement was, all drugs are poisons. The benefit depends on the dose. And that is unfortunately, if you watch television and all these new drugs that are in patent, they will start out with beautiful colors and beautiful people and music about this wonderful new drug. And then all of a sudden they turn to black and white, talk as fast as they can that this new drug can cause toxicity to your bone marrow, to your liver, to your kidneys, even can cause strokes or heart attacks. And people seem to ignore this, but what Paracelsus said has not changed in nearly 500 years, that drugs work through a very different type of mechanism of action to just suppress symptoms. And the ideal drug is you feel better when you take it, but if you quit taking it, your symptoms come back. Well, what we're talking about with optimal nutrition, you correct the problem and you can move on and keep good health. So again, if we'll talk about the dental this time, it's just a part of lifestyle. And I've tried to emphasize that the real challenge to human beings is to do what you know you ought to do and having the self-discipline to follow through. And I figure if there's an individual brushes their teeth regularly each day, that they probably follow through on the other aspects of lifestyle, like a proper exercise each week, and the choice of food and the amount of food. So one of the things I wanted to point out is that more comprehensive nutrition is safe beyond compare. It's effective because it supports the engineering and design of life that is coded in the genes or in DNA, and it's also economical, which is very important in these inflationary times. And so let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
Now, oral hygiene is you need to know that there's bacteria in the mouth. And I can remember over the years I've said that when humans get into fights and all, that a human bite can be terrible if you get an infection with the bacteria that are around the teeth. And this bacteria in the gums and teeth is not a bacteria that is good to have in your bowel. There's worldwide research that friendly bacteria in the large bowel contribute to health. And these bacteria in the mouth, if you don't brush your teeth, and they tend to take over, become the principal bacteria, even in your large bowel. This is deleterious to your health. And when this first started coming out, I was prepared because I had read a conference that was held in Belgium on soybeans. And they pointed out that the soybeans are a storehouse of numerous nutrients. However, these nutrients are protected by a sugar molecule added on the end of the molecule that keeps it from being water soluble. It's insoluble. However, bacteria, friendly bacteria in your bowel, remove this sugar and it can be absorbed into the serum and pumped around in the serum phase of the blood to the cells as a nutrient to help improve diet. And so it's important to reduce the number of bacteria in the mouth so that they don't take over and be the principal bacteria in your GI tract. Next slide.
Okay.
Now, we want to say, well, what's so important about brushing your teeth? Well, I tried to tell you a little bit of it in that first thing, but does brushing your teeth frequently influence health status? And that's what some research has been done on. And so let's go to the next slide and start finding out some of this research. In the journal Nature, there was a research group that said, does brushing teeth have any influence on cardiovascular health?
Mm-hmm.
And cardiovascular health is very important because, particularly in the United States, strokes and heart attacks clot in the blood vessels that run to the brain or to the heart, which is cardio and vascular, is important. So they had a study of 1,675 patients, and they were all over 20 years of age, and they had come to the clinic for some surgical procedure, which and follow-up drug treatment, which brought them into the health process. They divided this 1,675 people into 4 groups, and they went into them and interviewed them and says, how often do you brush your teeth? Is it morning and night, morning only, night only, or they don't brush their teeth at all? So let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
For the results. They found out that those that brush their teeth only in the morning, that this really was inadequate in regard to cardiovascular health. If they brush them at night only, this is pretty good. But not brushing their teeth at all was terrible. And not brushing their teeth and also smoking was even worse in regard to cardiovascular health. And they also had looked at it by how many of the teeth did they have, and what did they have gum infections and abscesses around their teeth, and they tested the bowel flora, and they found out that the more you brush your teeth, the more of the healthy bacteria were in your large bowel. And if you didn't brush your teeth at all, it was overgrowth of these undesirable bacteria that do not contribute to better health. Next slide, please.
Okay.
In the European Journal of Clinical Investigation, a very significant journal, they had 510,000 patients, 510,000, and the patients ranged from 39 to 79 years old. And they found out that, and they found out how often they brush their teeth and those that didn't brush their teeth. And they found out those that don't brush their teeth have a 12% higher cardiovascular disease, that there's a 9% increase in strokes, 18% increase in cerebral hemorrhage, a 15% increase in myocardial infarcts, or we also know that as heart attacks, that there was a higher percentage of pulmonary heart disease, increased blood pressure in the pulmonary vessels inside the lung, that there was a 9% increase in cancer, a 12% increase in chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and a 25% increase in liver cirrhosis. There was no impact in regard to you brushing your teeth on type 2 diabetes or chronic liver disease. And that was based on examining 500,000 patients. Next slide, please. Now, the World Health Organization globally follows really about 41 million people die of chronic disease each year, and it's considered to be about 74% of all deaths. And they looking into these causes of death worldwide, that one of the highest incidents of death is people that smoke tobacco. The next thing was unhealthy lifestyles, and that includes over drinking alcohol. You know, a little alcohol, probably with the evening meal, like wine, is not deleterious. But if you start getting significant numbers of calories a day from going on and on and on each day with alcohol, it's very deleterious in terms of lifestyle. That another thing that led to the deaths on planet Earth was a lack of exercise. And next is poor diets and poor choices of diets, and rarely brushing their teeth. This is what the World Health Organization found out. And again, we have this in this series because one of these things was this rarely brushing your teeth. It's important. Next slide. Now, there's another study that I found that it was not, the source was not given where it was published, but it was 1,800 and 150 patients that averaged 61 years of age. And the question was, does brushing of teeth relate to chronic disease? And in this almost 20,000 patients, they found brushing teeth once a day or not at all, there was a 50% instance of chronic disease. 40% of these had cardiovascular disease, 15% had nutritional or metabolic disease, 4% had musculoskeletal disease, 2% had gastrointestinal tract disease, 2% had respiratory disease, and 2% had genital urinary disease. So again, brushing your teeth, and I suspect one of the things that this thing is part of lifestyle. If you are fastidious enough to brush your teeth, say 2 times a day or more, that this is healthy, and you'll do other things besides brushing your teeth to improve your quality of life, of lifestyle. Next slide, please. Now, in the British Journal of Medicine, you may know that in England they have a National Health Service. So this is based on 15 million people in the United Kingdom. And they compared people that had no dental disease with a population that had chronic gingivitis and periodontal disease. And those that had the chronic gum disease and teeth around the teeth had an 18% higher cardiovascular disease. That's based on the entire population of the United Kingdom. And these people had 70% higher cardiometabolic disease, and that gets even into diabetes too.
Okay.
There was a 33% increase in autoimmune diseases. And that's where the body makes antibodies that attack your own tissues. And depending on which tissue the antibody attaches to, it alters its function. And one of the most common things is hypothyroidism, particularly seemingly seen in females, and then rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and asthma is in this group too.
Oh, really?
And they claim in the British Empire, those people that do not tend to their dental health have a 37% mental illness, which that raises some questions in my mind. But apparently, if you don't think right and do right, your brain doesn't work well.
Wow.
Why that is so high for mental illness is certainly a challenge, and it's a good reason to brush your teeth a lot. Next
Yeah,
slide.
that's really strange to link all that together.
Yeah. Now, in the Japanese Journal of Medicine, you see, if you step back from this, medicine is trying to find what are just little things that you can do on a regular basis that are promotive to your health. And of course, in lifestyles, which we're talking about, emphasizing that the World Health Organization found in the blue zones that lifestyle is important. And also in the Japanese, they found out that the mental disease that they were finding out in England, they would start to look at it in what does it relate to mental disease in Japan. And they related if the individuals had no teeth or only 10 teeth, 71% incidence of memory impairment compared to patients that had 22 to 32 teeth. So that raises a question of, hey, are you going to take time to not only brush your teeth, but to do the between the teeth, what do you call it? The little, I'm blocking on
Yeah, flossing. Yeah.
flossing. Flossing.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a reverse, um, like, is that a stat that is reversed, though? It's not about that you because you have it's because your mental capacity is not to remind yourself to care, or you don't have the capacity to care properly for your teeth. It's not that, like, you
Well,
didn't care for your teeth, so your brain is bad. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, anyway, that high incidence of mental disease and their N value was 15 million, the population of the United Kingdom and their health service. So the Japanese looked at it. And they said it even relates to the number of teeth you've been able to keep. And of course, brushing your teeth and flossing will improve that. Fact is, my wife goes very regularly to the dentist, and I still laugh. She said, "Do I have to brush floss every tooth every time that I'm brushing my teeth?" And the dentist says, "Oh, you only have to floss those teeth that you want to keep." So apparently, this is more important than we tend to be, but it's a part of lifestyle and being fastidious about good things that can be done that improve your quality of life, and keeping your teeth is part of that. Next slide.
Okay.
Now, the European Journal of Heart Disease in the year 2019 had a interventional study because all these other studies were prospective. They just asked the people, what you've been doing? And they were related what they'd been doing to various disease. But in this population, they followed them for 114 months, which is 9.5 years. And the
Mhm.
median age of the population was 52. And they wanted to know those that brush their teeth 3 times a day or more, compared to zero brushing or brushing only 1 time a day. What is the chronic disease frequency? Well, the number of people that they followed for 9.5 years was 2,470, 47, and 696. So it's nearly 250,000 patients. Hey, that's a lot
That's
of
a lot of people.
observation.
Mhm.
And they found out that there was a 19% lower incidence of cardiovascular disease in those people that brush their teeth at least 3 times a day compared to those that did not brush their teeth. So this was not after the fact, but following them in as over from the start of the observation period to 9.5 years.
Okay.
And the dental health had a significant impact on cardiovascular accidents, which would be heart attacks and strokes. Next slide, please.
Okay.
As I've tried to emphasize over and over again, you don't have to move to the blue zones to get the benefits, because one of the most important and easiest things you can do, and that you have total control of, is what you choose to eat and how much you choose to eat. And one of the things that I say is very important because obesity is such a huge problem in the United States because we have so much food of different types available and less and less labor being needed on an everyday basis to burn up our calories or the energy from what we eat. And the you don't have to live in the blue zones, that you just have to do the things that people in the blue zones do. And one of these things, which is in that area, not only a diet and exercise, but your quality of life and uh, thing is to brush your teeth. And a good example to prove that you don't have to move to one of these isolated peninsulas or islands is the Seventh day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, that tend to follow in biblical guidance Daniel 1. And if you look at Daniel 1, you'll find out that the Babylonians had overrun the Jews, and they were slaves in the area. And there was King I believe it was King Antiochus, and he saw that the Jewish young men were more muscular and alert and could work stronger, longer hours, and recover from fatigue. And he says he wanted them to be in his service at the head of the king. And he said they wanted them to eat at the king's table, where they'd have the finest wines and meats and food from all over the nation. And they said, no, we want water and fruits and vegetables. And he said, oh, I want you to have the best. And they said, oh, let's do a study, a test. And what they found out, that sure enough, just on fruits and vegetables and water, that the Jewish young men were much more alert and could work longer and work harder and stronger, recover from fatigue, than those that were eating the finest foods on the king's table. And so that's what guides them on a religious basis. And they form a not isolated peninsula or isolated island, but is proof that you can institute in your life the points that the World Health Organization has identified as important to give you longevity and quality of life. And what we have pointed out in this little lecture is that the habit of brushing your teeth regularly, at least 2 times a day or more, is very health promoting. And I make the point that one of the challenges of the human condition is to do what we know we should do. And those people, I suspect, that brush their teeth regularly also exercise better choices in their food, that they exercise better, and that they avoid excesses in alcohol, and that they avoid smoking. So again, this is an attempt to share with people that it is safe, it is effective, and it's economical to have a more vegetarian diet. And then I think that the Cleveland Clinic program, which Dr. Dean Arnish has, it gives you 1 day a week vacation. That's the day I have my poached salmon, or I found a place that fries liver, and that is very, very loaded with multiple micronutrients. In fact, when I was a kid in my father's church, when people got older and got run down, they would go to the doctor and have liver shots.
Oh my gosh.
And I would imagine it would be quite painful. But the point was that the liver has a huge, broad supply of different nutrients. And so I include that as one of the things that I eat on the day I have the one out of 7 days that you can eat anything you
That
want.
you can eat anything you want. Yeah,
Uh,
I know they recommend that when to people when they're anemic or low iron, is liver because it has a lot of iron in it and things like that. So, and the minerals and whatever. I thought it was interesting when one of the slides was talking about the difference in that it didn't matter or it wasn't good. It wasn't good if you brushed your teeth in the morning, but it was good if you brushed your teeth at night. And it made me think of when I took my kids to the dentist and she was explaining how the sugar bugs react if when after you why it's important to brush your teeth right after eating is because the sugar is active and starting to attack your teeth, and after so much time, the acids or whatever your natural uh, body kind of deactivates that bacteria, and so that's why it's important to go ahead and brush your teeth after eating, or within that time frame, because it will do whatever damage um, eventually. So,
well, I would like to end with the fact that the United States has the highest healthcare cost in the world and rates about number 35th in quality of life and health status of the member nations of the United Nations. And so I have spent now 38 years trying to figure out what you can do. And that's one of the things we point out that we on this program to supplement molecules of nutrition that used to be in the family garden and orchard when they're growing on soil that has 70 minerals. That New Eden is a formulation that puts back into the diet molecules for nutrition that used to be common back in the 1940s, even when I was a kid, and nearly everybody had either garden or an orchard,
mhm.
and that is healthy. And so, New Eden, which is available through this program, is a way to add to your diet and get some of these molecules that the people are getting in the blue zones where they have their own garden and they allow the fruit or vegetable to ripen on the plant so that the genes in the plant can put these nutrient molecules in there. On our modern so-called uh, fresh vegetable thing, most of those have been picked when they were green so there can be a shipping life and a shelf life commercially. And when you pick them green, the principal molecule in there is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a wonderful, incredible molecule, but it's just not required by the genes to hook together in cellular synthesis to make bioactive molecules that run the biochemistry and physiology of life and optimize health. So you can really improve your dietary aspect, which was a common factor in all the blue zones, by adding at each mealtime a scoop of New Eden, where you're getting about 14 different fruits and vegetables. And it's all built around a decade of research I did at Carrington Laboratories, trying to figure out why the 5,000-year history of aloe vera leaf gel to support healthy things. Well, we found out it was acetylated mannose, which is called ace-mannan, and that's the principal key molecule in New Eden. And your cells need this and utilize it to optimize health. So that's a easy way to start developing for yourself the benefits that people have gotten in the blue zones.
Yeah, and we also talked about how they were talking about with the brushing your teeth and the bacteria, you can become imbalanced in your gut with the bad bacteria. And one of the things when you sign up for the auto ship, for 6 month auto ship with New Eden, you get not only a discount, but you get a free month supply of probiotic, of the healthy probiotic for your gut, delivered free with your auto shipment, called Milagros. Is that right?
Milagro
Yeah.
is the friendly bacteria that you want to proliferate in your large bowel. That if you don't brush your teeth, it reduces the number of these cells. But this is a way to add it back into your diet, and we don't charge for that because it's hard enough to get across to our population in this country that more optimal nutrition, that a broad nutrition, really supplies what your body needs, and it will correct deviations from normal health rather than just mask them over with a pharmaceutical drug.
Well, there you guys heard it here. This is a great way to get started in a healthy new year. You can use the link in my in my description of this video, or you can go to find New Eden at wellnessquest.org and find more great products and also Dr. Reg McDaniel's book. And when you click on your options to order, check out the auto ship. It's the most economical way to order. You can sign up for a 6-month auto shipment, and they will have a drop down option of, where you heard about this. Tell them Lisa Davis or Litecoin Lisa sent you. And there's also an option to send a little note to Dr. Reg if you have any deviations from health, and they will send you more information or any studies that they might have where they've seen improvements in people's lifestyle or health after taking or using New Eden. So I definitely recommend that. You can also email Dr. McDaniel if you have any questions and you would like to ask him a question. He's very, very generous with his time and knowledge. You can email Dr. McDaniel with your questions at capital R McDaniel at wellnessquest.org.
I look forward from hearing to you people.
That's right. You guys, please take advantage of his generosity and send him a question. So thanks so much again, Dr. McDaniel. We will see you in a couple of weeks with more information.
Thank you.
Thanks.